think we have enough to satisfy our quorum. We're going to go ahead and proceed. We have 2 members who have resigned. We have 7 members who are present. The majority is above 4, and so now we have enough to satisfy our quorum. We have 2 vacancies. We have a representative position for KSD, if there's any member who wants to be nominated for that, and then also a district representative from anyone that you know who may be interested from another public school district. There's a resume or an application to fill out that needs to be filled out to be applied for to be on the board. We're going to go ahead and begin our meeting. The time now is 6:16 p.m. Welcome back, everyone. Did you all enjoy your summer? Or do you all need more vacations? Yes? I hear a yes for more vacations. All right. Well, welcome back. KSD had their open house and registration day last Sunday. It was a spectacular event. Very energizing to see all the students arriving on campus and meeting all of them and speaking with them. Some kids did come up and I'd say, "Hey, how are you doing?" I'm like, "They're tired." I was like, "What are you tired for?" And they said, "Oh, I went to 3 summer camps. And then I went home and went to bed." Or they're just exhausted from all the events that they had going on. And so it's wonderful to have these opportunities and summer schools and summer camps available for our deaf and hard of hearing students. That really excites me. There were some new students who were new to campus. I was able to meet them and meet their parents. They seemed a little bit nervous, but I gave them my experience and my background. I explained what I had learned and went through, and it seemed to instill a little bit of confidence within the parents. You know, they are excited about something new, but at the same time, the parents had little reservations with sending their child away. But they needed to understand that KSD can instill a sense of pride and community, and we need to foster that growth of these students here. And I believe that KSD can do that this year. For our public comment, I'm reading over our list here. It's very important that as we adhere to our agenda and the agenda items, our agenda this evening is very tight. We have 6 items on our agenda. I'm allotting 30 minutes in total for the public comments. So if you don't mind to keep your public comments to a minimum of 5 minutes, that way we can be respectful for everyone who does want to make a comment. I'm going to keep an eye on the time, and when we reach that 30-minute time limit, I'm going to cut off the public comments. If you have any public comments, please don't direct those to any one member in the audience. Please keep that to myself, directed to myself as the chair of the board. Now, if we could have a roll call.
Robin Bush, present. Scott Hahn.
Here.
Jeff Kessinger.
Present.
Kayla Parton.
Here.
Aaron Roden. Kathy White. Bethany Yance.
Here.
Okay, we do have a quorum.
Thank you so much. Before we begin, this is Jeff. We're going to back up. First, I want to take a moment of silence and remember Mrs. Ruth Sigler. She had a big heart and devoted a lot of her years to the education of our deaf and hard of hearing students here at KSD. She had a huge influence. She was passionate for the children. I was a student under Ruth, She was very involved in the sporting events and education. Tragically, we lost her to a battle of cancer fairly recently. If you don't mind, a moment of silence for Miss Ruth Sigler. This is Scott Hahn. I want to add one thing to say about Ruth. She was the first special education director. She broke a pathway and paved that pathway. She was one of the best special ed directors that I have seen in my time. She had a huge heart for the education of deaf and hard of hearing students here at KSD and throughout the state. This is Jeff. Moving on with our agenda, I want to say welcome back to our assistant principal, Dr. Phoenicia Jones. Congratulations. Dr. Jones, I understand that you were employed underneath Ruth as well. Is that correct? See, she's had a whole lot of wonderful opportunities. Ruth has provided a lot of opportunities for several people. Now I would like a motion for the approval of the May 8th, 2025 board meeting minutes. In reading through those minutes, are there any corrections that need to be made? I did send those out to everyone yesterday, and it seems that there might have been one that was then overlooked. Give me one moment. I noticed that the spelling of Siku, if we could change the spelling of Siku White on those meeting minutes. That was the only correction that I could note. Scott Hahn's making a motion to accept the meeting minutes with the correction. Seconded by Bethany Yantz. All those in favor of the correction of the meeting minutes, say aye. Any opposed? Motion passes. KSD's report, Dr. Petrie.
Good to see everybody. It's been a long week. Started on Sunday and has carried on till tonight's advisory board. I love seeing all the faces in the crowd, the excitement of the kids on Sunday. We're in store for a great year. I want to go ahead and commend our maintenance staff. The campus looks beautiful. I hope you all noticed as you drove in how good everything was looking. The buildings are nice and cool. Everything is clean and it looks great to start the year out. Tonight I want to mention start off with our school theme for the year. This is going to be something that is going to carry us from now all the way to May. And that topic, that theme is going to be intentional. We are going to be intentional in everything we do here on campus, from athletics all the way to the dorm, to our volunteer activities. We're going to be intentional, really focusing on literacy and getting and challenging our kids to be good readers, because good readers make good leaders and has them prepared for anything that they're going to do after they graduate. We're going to be intentional in engaging our students at every level. I know Barbie Harris is key in that with the leadership training that we're doing and with our junior NAD program. Doug Brewer, Juanita Couch is also huge in carrying that during the day here in the school and into the dorm. We're going to be intentional on our access to communication with ASL, English, and our reading initiatives. So I want to make sure that these students are prepared to go on into career, into higher education. I want to go ahead and address the 3 initiatives. I usually come in with 100 initiatives, but I've been told we might want to concentrate on 3 and then build from there. So I have narrowed it down to 3 reluctantly. Number 1, of course, is the intentionality on literacy. So that is going to be a big push this year within the school. That is literacy and the curriculum. We have a new curriculum called American Reading Company that we're going to be rolling out from elementary, middle school, high school, and our CTE classes. The next initiative is we're not going to do this by ourselves. I've noticed within my last 2 years, this is going on my 3rd year here in deaf education, I have noticed deaf schools tend to work in isolation within their state. They're unique, so they kind of set off to themselves. I want to really connect with other deaf schools, create collaborative cohorts to where we can share ideas. We can be open back and forth on what's working for them, what's working for us, and we can basically communicate between each other so we don't have to recreate the wheel on everything that we're doing. That is also going to carry in with our students, creating challenges between those schools, getting that communication. The use of technology is really going to open up our classroom walls so that we can reach across the nation and talk to some of the schools. Here in a couple weeks, we are going, the administration team from KSD, KSB, and also our director of state school is going to attend, or we're going to go to Iowa School for the Deaf and Blind, and we're also going to visit Washington State School for the Deaf and Blind. So we get to do that. We're really going to collaborate on the American Reading Company because there are 20 other deaf schools across the nation that's using this curriculum, and we're really going to try to research what they're doing and have them tell us what improvements that it's showing and really kind of look into their programming. The last initiative that I get to pick for this year is really following up on one that we had last year, creating those student leadership and advocacy programs within our school. The junior NAD was a big start to that. It is carried over for our student body government. I want to give these students a voice. I want people to understand what we're doing here at the school, and I want them to be ambassadors for KSD. And I think they will carry on the mission and the vision that I have set forth for them and be able to go and do great things after they graduate. I'm very excited about all those. Now for the new staff, I think this is as close to fully staffed as we've been since the first day here on campus. We've hired 10 new employees since our last advisory board, and we've added 2 new contract SROs. The staff that we've added within the dorm and the academic, I'm going to list those off. Mahala Hendricks, she's a house parent in the dorm. Kimberly Hamilton, she is part of our cafeteria staff. Zachariah Lee. He is with our maintenance team. He's one that's partly responsible for how good the campus is looking right now. Emily Brooks, student development in the dorm. Brianna Fields, audiologist. Our very own Dr. Phoenicia Jones has rejoined. We're getting the band back together. And she has been a welcome addition. Would you like to come and introduce yourself? Say a few words, maybe 20? Well, I'm gonna have her give a hour presentation next time. In the elementary school, we've added Manny Navarrete, Emily Cornett with our outreach staff. Also, Summer Attenberry with our outreach staff. And lastly, Miss Rebecca Hall, high school math teacher. Our 2 contract SROs on first shift is Travis Dotson. And on second shift, John Bourne, right over here. He is ready, he is excited, and he didn't know he's gonna have to present. So, John Bourne, everybody. Yes, sir. All right, moving on. I want to mention a few Senate bills that go into effect that we are going to be required as a school to implement. Just going to mention a few of the numbers. Senate Bill 181 is going to be a traceable communication bill that is going to affect staff and volunteers of KSD. I think our state director is going to mention that a little bit more when she presents on her part here in a second. And I think everybody has copies in their folder of the traceable communication that's currently approved that we can use. Any questions on that, just let me know. We also have Senate Bill 208, which is going to limit electronic communication during the school day from the students. That is their cell phone, anything such as a watch or iPad that limits social media or anything else like that during the instructional school day. And also Senate Bill 19, which sets up a moment of silence to begin every school day here at KSD. Of course, more details will be following on those Senate bills, so everybody is made aware. I want to finish with some highlights from this past summer. Summer offers a lot of opportunities for our kids to be engaged here at KSD. Summer school and ag camp were a huge benefit to draw in some new students. Jeff mentioned, let me go back to that paper. Jeff mentioned opening day. It was full of excitement, energy, a lot of ice cream, a lot of hot dogs consumed. We had 59 families that showed up, 59 students that showed up on Sunday. As of today, we had 74 students that are enrolled here at KSD. So I think that was a pretty good start to the school year. And summer school and ag camp were a big reason for some of those. So I want to keep giving opportunities for students to come and experience KSD. This next thing was something that I was given the opportunity to participate in, or the school was given the opportunity to participate in my first month here. is the UK Markey Cancer Center Future Deaf Scientist Program. Annie is in attendance. Stu Harper is also one of the program leads for that this summer. I want him to come up and just tell a little bit about the experience for the students and the program at KSD. And then I'm going to show a short clip of what UK Markey Cancer Center put out to kind of highlight the program as it was going on from July the 7th all the way up to July 30th. We had a big wrap up of the program, and I think all the students really enjoyed it. So you'll get to hear from them right after Stu Harper says a few words.
Good evening, board. Good evening, members of the community. This is Stu Harper. It's good to see everyone. I was honored to be included in the program during the month of July. Those 4 weeks, and it was 3 days each week, Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday during the 4 weeks. We had 2 students attend from Kentucky School for the Deaf and 2 students from a public school. They were in a deaf and hard of hearing program there. And so these 4 students collaborated together as part of this amazing opportunity. They met with cancer specialists from the UK Cancer Center, some of the top research programs in the country. And also they were able to Zoom and meet with other deaf scientists across the country who were also involved in this field. Wonderful role models, wonderful people to glean information from other deaf doctors and researchers that are out there working and doing this. It was very inspirational. One big takeaway for me is I saw those 4 students on day 1. They seemed a little timid and nervous and shy, very apprehensive. But those students, compared to the last day, the 4 of them had made wonderful presentations about what they had learned to a large group of audience, in the audience during the banquet. And it was an amazing. I was very impressed with our own Annie O'Donnell and Timothy Abidama, our 2 students. It was fantastic. They did a wonderful job. They're very motivated, and I'm sure that this program is going to continue and do really, really well in the years to come. If you all have any questions, please reach out, contact me. I would be more than happy to share with what I know. I don't want to take up too much more time this evening. Thank you all.
I'll go ahead and let technology hopefully cue up the video.
Country to participate in the Future Deaf Scientist Program, a 4-week program introducing deaf students to careers in cancer research. This week, deaf and hard of hearing students were at the Healthy Kentucky Research Building getting hands-on lab experience.
We desperately need more people going into the cancer workforce, and we need
University of Kentucky was selected as one of 5 cancer centers in the country to participate in the Future Deaf Scientist program, a 4-week program introducing deaf students to careers in cancer research. This week, deaf and hard of hearing students were at the Healthy Kentucky Research Building getting hands-on lab experience.
We desperately need more people going into the cancer workforce, and we need people from all walks of life.
This opportunity is phenomenal. You know, it doesn't come around often for deaf and hard of hearing high school students to be exposed to really, cutting edge research.
So far we went and looked at different clinics, and we were able to observe different patients. We also learned about ultrasounds and sonograms. We also saw some different technology with robotics related to surgery and how surgeons are using different robotic technology for that.
They've been learning about cancer in the classroom. They've been doing hands-on activities. They've visited in clinics and operating rooms to learn about cancer and cancer care. They've been doing laboratory activities. They've been learning from other groups of deaf scientists that are in this program at other locations.
And the impact on these students is, you can see it happen. It's inspiring. If they see another deaf scientist doing top-level research and working with science labs, at the top level, they know they can do it.
I think it's good that deaf people and basically anybody have experiences like this, or even just a program at school, so that way they know that they can do hard things and achieve what they want to become as long as they work hard for it.
Hearing kids often have multiple opportunities that they can go to, and deaf kids do not have the same opportunities all the time. And so, deaf people are interested in this kind of field and this study too. And I think it's important that we all are involved as well. And it doesn't have to obviously be just deaf people with other deaf people. Deaf people and hearing people can all interact and learn from each other.
According to the Kentucky Commission on the Deaf and Hard of Hearing, about 16% of Kentuckians are deaf or hard of hearing.
Proud of what opportunities that program offers, not only our students, but the school and the community. And that really makes me happy that we get to carry that on for another 4 years, so that more students can be involved in that program, and it keeps exposing KSD as one of the top deaf schools in the nation. Another good program, that I'm happy to announce that we're getting started this fall and will carry on into the spring, is our dual credit opportunity with EKU. They will be offering ASL 101 and 102, taught by our very own Erin Roden. So she is going to be teaching our students this fall. I'm very happy that they get that opportunity to earn dual credit as well. Our RTI program is going to be expanding across every level of the school. We're currently working on that programming to get it up and initiated for the fall and spring, so that it will benefit every student at KSD. The collaboration, which I mentioned earlier, with the other deaf schools that are currently working in the American Reading Company curriculum. We're going to reach out. We've already made contact with a few of those schools and interacted via technology with our videos. And we are very happy to learn from others as well as they can learn from us. If you've noticed online, our website is slowly being updated. So check out our academic area for our elementary, middle, high school, and CTE areas. And any feedback you can offer on how to make that more engaging, please let us know. We've also had the opportunity to explore staff recruitment. This past April, we got to go visit Gallaudet University, where we got to participate in a job fair. So KSD got to set up a table next to schools like Texas School for the Deaf and really share what KSD has to offer, from maintenance to tech to our academic staff. And we're currently trying to engage those schools so that we can recruit staff for our future. And finally, before I turn it over to the next item on the agenda, is the annual report. I've almost got that correct. I thought I had it ready to roll and to churn out, but apparently I missed a few topics, so I had to go back and add those. So that will be coming out soon, and I'll be able to share that with you all momentarily. Thank you all for giving me time, and I hope that gave you a good update to where we are to start the school, and full of excitement. All right, we'll go next.
Thank you so much, Dr. Petrie. This is Jeff. Wonderful update, and those programs are fascinating. It's wonderful PR to be able to go to Gallaudet and advertise and promote this school in such a way. Hopefully, it's something that we can participate with other colleges and universities, and that way they know about KSD and we don't become overlooked. What a wonderful job. I was invited to the Future Deaf Scientists banquet, and it was wonderful to get up there and a really, really good lunch. I devoured that. I was so tempted to have more dessert, but I had to watch what I eat. But it was a wonderful program, and I was very impressed by those students. I believe that KSD and these continuing partnerships with other entities around the state and the nation will have a wonderful impact, a positive impact, not just on our students and parents that we have here, but as well as other deaf and hard of hearing families across the state. That way, the reputation can grow. Other families can see what KSD is doing, and it can be a better promotion for outreach to other districts and to other parents and families. And we have to create more of these collaborative efforts. And Dr. Petrie is doing a great job with that 101 ASL class collaboration with EKU. We have to be inventive with these partnerships. I think that's a wonderful program. Fantastic job, Dr. Petrie. Moving on to the KSD facilities update. Walter T. Hewlett. Seems Mr. Hewlett is not here. Chris Gray.
Good evening, everybody. Glad everybody made it here safely. I'm gonna give you a few updates on things going on around campus. We'll start at Thomas Gym. Thomas Gym has been completed. We're still working out a few bugs, but eventually Thomas Gym will be open fully. We'll go to Argo. Argo needed a dust collector. They have finished the system, but they're still working out a few bugs. But Argo can be used, and we are utilizing Argo as we speak. The electrical fire, it has been inspected. Everything is fixed, and everything is working in the cafeteria. Jacobs Hall, they are gonna start working on replacing every window except for the cupola. So every window will be new. And anybody that knows, it's 2 sets of bees over there, honeybees. We are gonna get those removed. We are not gonna kill them. We're gonna get them moved to a different location. The Brady Hall HVAC. We're gonna replace every unit in Brady. in Brady. So all that's being planned right now. Soon they'll be starting on that. So everybody that's in Brady Hall, we know it's hot. We're working on it. Middleton Hall. It is still under construction. The interior is on schedule. We are still waiting on the brick things for the exterior. They're having a few problems, but they're working through it. They're finding a way to fix it. One thing we was really hoping we could get before school started, but we couldn't get it done, but they will be here in the morning. We're gonna get mulch put in the elementary playground. So anybody that's been worried about that, like me, it's coming in the morning. The big one, Lee Hall, is still under our 6-year plan. They are still getting funding, and they'll be beginning that soon. So that's all T has let me know about that part and what I know. So I hope everybody has a safe trip home, and thank y'all. Question?
Hey, Chris.
Yes, sir.
One moment. Actually, this is Scott Hahn. What is the status of the pool? Because the foundation was involved in some of the fundraising, and I keep getting asked by other members in the public. And so I just wanted to present it to you. How's the process with the pool going?
The pool, me and Dr. Petrie was talking about that earlier. We are getting ready to figure out everything we need to get the pool up and going. We have to clean it, make sure where it's been empty, we have to check everything. We don't wanna just hurry up and do it and something go wrong, and then we'll have to drain the pool again. Once we get it full, we wanna have it operating the way it's supposed to. But we are talking about it already. It's coming.
Okay, thank you. This is Scott. Jeff's asking the board, do you have any other questions? Jeff is saying that if you don't mind to remind Mr. Hewlett, we would like an update on the 6-year plan to see, and also have a hard copy for the board members.
Yes, sir.
If you don't mind for that. Thank you. Moving on to the KDE updates. Shannon Sparkman. Oh, yes, my apologies. Student life report from Mr. Justin Paget. I didn't mean to forget you, I'm sorry.
Thanks, sir. Good evening. Dr. Petrie's done start a little bit today about the initiatives with our school theme on being intentional, and the dorm has certainly accepted that challenge from him. We've also been working on a student life theme that we've been working on this summer called Dare to Dream. Our staff voted on that, and so that's one thing that we want to build and grow in the student life program with our children. Dare to Dream could be a number of things, starting with our elementary kiddos all the way up to our high school kiddos that are getting ready to embark on that next path. So we are working on that in the dorm, and we're going to connect a lot of our initiatives with that as well. This summer, we were able to participate in a conference, a student life conference, with other deaf and hard of hearing schools across the nation. That was a great time of networking with other deaf schools. We had with lots of learning that took place. We worked on relationships, motivation of our students, interventions, independent living skill programs, financial planning, working with diverse populations, students with autism, and building after-school programs. So we've done a lot of work this summer, bringing those ideas together so that we can implement a plan at KSD and continue to grow our student life program. We hosted a dorm open house right before school started for school staff and teachers that were on campus to start bridging that communication between the dorm and the school program. We also had a number of trainings last week right before the kids came back to campus. We worked on goal setting as a staff, what initiatives we wanted to take on this year in the dorm. We looked at behavior strategies, invited folks, our behavior specialists here on campus, made some presentations, and Kevin followed up with some dorm-specific behavior strategies. We learned a lot about self-care, starting with our staff, and in turn, relaying that over into our students with stress management, mindfulness. Our occupational therapist, Ms. Melissa Webb, presented on zones of regulation and sensory needs for our students on campus and those living in the dorm. We wanted to learn more so that we could better meet the needs of our students. Ms. Kimmy Curtis also presented on some visually impaired strategies for our dorm kiddos, on how we can better meet the needs of those students who have visual issues as well on our campus. And then we're also working on our behavior consequences to make sure that we have a fair match each time to be consistent with our students across the dorm. So we have a few initiatives this school year that we're going to focus on in the dorm. Effective communication is one of those. Self-care between our staff and students. Growing independence in all levels of the dorm, starting with our elementary kiddos learning kitchen safety, how to use the microwave appropriately, things like that, to be independent, and all the way up into our independent living skills program, which is for our seniors. Also, we're looking at educational support. We don't have an academic focus in the dorm, but we do lots of learning. We want to support the academic program with homework. Dr. Petrie and I had a meeting today at the local library so that we can support some literacy initiatives in the dorm. We also want to build an environment of collaboration in our dorm, second to third shift, as well as across campus, connecting with those other deaf schools that I mentioned earlier in their student life programs. And we want to continue building a home-like environment for our kids. Dorm staff are awesome. We spent a lot of time this summer working on our dorms, adding some color in our dorms, making sure that those environments are very home-like for the students. Thank you, that's my report. I did at the beginning, Dr. Petrie asked me to mention the Florida connection. We went to Florida School for the Deaf and Blind. We've got some good relationships that we've started there with those folks, and there were a number, 30-some states that were represented at our National Student Life Deaf Hard of Hearing Conference. So we've got lots of communication, very, very good networking system.
This is Jeff. Wow, that's fantastic to see. Keep building that wonderful program. Thank you so much. Now the Kentucky Department of Education update from Shannon Sparkman.
Good evening. It's nice to see everyone. I can't believe it's already time to start again. It seems like you blink. You know, you're all excited for summer, you blink and it's a new school year. But I'm excited about it. I think we've got a lot of good things going on, and I just really have a couple of updates for you. So last week at the Kentucky Board of Education meeting, the KSB and KSD annual policies were approved. So we partner with the Kentucky School Board Association to have those policies updated annually after the legislative session to reflect any laws that have passed or any changes to existing regulation throughout the year. So those ended up going through August 7th. Part of that was mentioned by Dr. Petrie with the Senate Bill 181. And in your folders, that chart that you have, we had to bring a traceable communication system before the board for approval. So we've charted out, both schools have similar platforms, but we've charted them out separately so you can see the school, the platform, the account holders, the audience, and then the purpose. Now this is our initial system that we put in for approval. We'll continue to work with the school leaders to identify any additional needs based on our students and families, and at that time, we'd have to bring that back before the Kentucky Board of Education for approval. But we're still looking into that. And I know that, Jeff, you mentioned at the beginning about the 2 vacancies. So I've been working with the OCL policy advisor and the communications department at KDE to get that the publication for the call for nominations. So I'm hoping that that's going to be very near future. And then as soon as I get that out, I'll send that to the board and I'll just keep you updated on that information. And then Lynn mentioned the trip, and we're excited about the trip. The trip is August 25th. So this is a professional development opportunity that's being funded through OCL. So both Dr. Petrie and then Peggy Sinclair Morris, the principal at the Kentucky School for the Blind, will join me and a couple of others from our division, and we're gonna go to Washington School for the Blind, Washington School for the Deaf, and on the way we're gonna stop at Iowa. And the way that this came about was when we were looking at opportunities to grow and collaborate with other schools for the deaf across the country, the division just had a conversation with the principals and said, let's pick out your school of choice. And with the American Reading Company curriculum that was purchased, the collaboration that Dr. Petrie has been doing with the Iowa School for the Deaf, that was his choice. And so that we're gonna stop there. They've had a lot of success with that program, so we're happy to see where we can take that. And I did just wanna mention when Dr. Petrie was talking about the policies and some of the restrictions and that kind of stuff, there are, when we put forth our policies through KBE, we also make sure that we include the protection for our students under the IDEA. So if there are any technology pieces that students need based on their individual education program, they're protected under the IDEA. So I just wanted to clarify that piece. I think that's it. Thank you.
Okay, this is Jeff. Board, do you have any other questions? I don't see any. Thank you very much. Okay. Moving on for new business and goals. There are 2 very important things to note. One was recently released in July 1st. That is the Kentucky Auditors. It was related to House Bill 25. And so each state auditor then selected several schools. KSB and KSD were selected. Some staff were polled, interviews were conducted. They did come down here to KSD as well. They wanted to take a look at everything. I received a copy, and I implore you all to go online, House Bill 25, and take a look. Their report that's there, it's quite extensive. I mean, I'm not finished reading it. Scott Hahn gestured to a copy that we have behind us here. He's holding up the binder with the extensive report. There were some very interesting findings. And a little bit of it was mind-opening when I was reading it. It was very, very interesting. I'm not going to take a moment now to take a deep dive with it, but maybe later. The Kentucky Board of Education meeting that they held last week, Dr. Fletcher had his report. And in that report and that discussion, it had a peek with the audit, with some agreements and some disagreements. And in looking at it and seeing this meeting, I think the Board of Education is considering some things and assigning and establishing a new subcommittee called this subcommittee is coming together, and they're reading through the audit and will be making recommendations based on their read through. Some of that might impact some of the bylaws that might be taking place with the Kentucky Board of Education. And again, I don't plan on going in any more depth tonight. But seeing the outcome of the subcommittee and some of those people that are being selected for those, it's important. Number two, with the facility plan, just recently, last week, I was contacted by Greta, the city of Danville, back in 2020. Earl Coffey is relentless in pursuing and contacting our principal and some other staff about the property around the museum, and they were also interested in where Walker Hall was, along with the old laundry and boiler room. There's a lot there to the south of the museum known as Lot 2. And through this very aggressive act, Boyle County, let me back up a little bit. Boyle County and the city of Danville have been a little bit back and forth on KSD's property. And the reason for that is the tax revenue that they can see. That's nothing new. This has been going on for years. The Boyle County Fiscal Court and the City of Danville Commission have been going back and forth. They've been here taking pictures of campus and the property that we have, and they've been submitting it to the Kentucky Board of Education and Dr. Robbie Fletcher because they're a little bit eager about what the intentions are with the property. What is going on moving forward with the land that's available, and so forth. And so it's now gotten into the Office of Finance and Legal. And so what was decided was a meeting was called last Tuesday. Scott Hahn from the foundation, myself, Dr. Petrie, Dr. Jones, as well as Ms. Greta Helton. We all had a in-depth discussion on how to respond. We needed to respond as quickly as possible, to be direct as possible, and let them know that Jacobs Hall and Lot 2 are not for sale. period. They will not be sold. Lot number 1, there aren't any plans to have it sold as well. Through our meeting, and from my perspective, we intend to maybe lease the property. And again, this is still in discussion as to what's going on. There is no final decision that has been made yet. They may say, well, what if, what if we raise the building? What if we clean the property? What if we do this? Okay, but understand, that's not likely. Some of these issues may not come to fruition. There has no terms been set or anything like that. I wanted you all to know because the next steps haven't been determined at this moment. The paramount concern is student safety if we lease it, because we don't want the access for 3rd Street where the old laundry building is and having an access road around there. We are concerned with protecting Jacobs Hall and students traversing there. And so we're still in discussion, but I wanted the public to know for this meeting tonight. Also, Lee Hall, Nancy Lee Hall is still in talks. Lee Hall is not for sale because we have already, it is already in our master plan. It's been in there twice before and before. And that's what we need to emphasize to the city and let them know for over 30 years. I'm saying over 30 years, this is going to stay with KSD. So I want to keep an open mind and keep this chain of dialogue going. Because the sale of the lot isn't going to happen, but the leasing of the lot would be a good revenue. However, something in writing, something there, something tangible, we need to make sure that the funds that are for the lease will go into KSD's account. We need written legal documentation that says that it will be going to Kentucky School for the Deaf. Leasing a lot and earning that revenue, and we need to have it earmarked, have it for a purpose. What would that money be geared toward? Where it is going to be allotted to? A KSD fund. It could be a capital improvements and building renovations or future expansion. It needs to be a lateral move into some sort of other facilities and not be left, or it doesn't need to be gone, because it will be a good money opportunity for capital projects for this campus. This campus does need a lot of updates. Even with just Lee Hall would be a good one. It would be nice to have a meeting center, a conference center, auditorium, and the like that can be then used potentially. Again, I would like to see something legal, financial in writing, ironed out with all the details that we can muster. If the city of Danville wanted to use the Kentucky School for the Deaf auditorium, they could have, there's office space, I don't know, some kind of leasing agreement that could be there. Anyway, there are a variety of avenues that could be approached here, but we need to have a good rapport with the local government and the state government. And I've heard for a long time that the city of Danville and KSD, with their master plans, between KSD's master plans and the city of Danville's master plans, have been disjointed. They've not aligned. They've never asked us to work with them. So it seems to be stuck between a rock and a hard place. And I've learned that the city of Danville has been saying, well, we've met with the deaf community, back in 2020, You know, we have this plan, we've had these meetings, and even some, as of late, some conversations, and they have names. But nothing has been signed. There are no signatures given. Yes, they might have had discussions, but no signatures. And so it seems a little bit ugly. I want you all to be aware. Don't ignore it. Don't think it isn't anything. Don't think that we're going to ignore, but be aware. This has been going on for many, many years. And to be honest, it's been happening since 1972. And so, between myself and Scott Hahn, it was very eye-opening, and it was a very long story telling of a day that Danville had set up a lot of misconceptions. It was the same story that they were having with the property over here, same with Bate Middle School. And so I want you all to know it's not going to stop. It will be a continuous push. I want you all to know that we are aware of it. We are expecting an immediate response. Everything that we had talked about in our meeting, we have it all documented. We're going through a process, and there's more information that is still being found out through the legal and the financial office, and that way we can have a valid report to give back to the city of Danville. And so a new subcommittee will be formed with a facilities plan, and we plan to make a recommendation. I need to have a motion set up to set up a couple of subcommittees. This is Scott Hahn. I would like to make a motion that we as the board establish two subcommittees. One to focus on the studying of the auditor's report, and the other for facilities planning committee. And we'll be taking nominations, whether it be parents, community members to be involved to go through these documents. Scott Hahn said that I made the motion. Bethany is in second. All those in favor signify by raising your hand. Motion passes. Thank you all. This is highly important. I've tasked Scott Hahn with the chair of the facilities and planning, or that is who I nominate for this. Scott said he accepts. Scott has been there before. He has history. He was a chairperson at the time a lot of this was being drafted. Again, this is during the COVID eras. Earl Coffey did mention, at that time, it was a little bit of virality going on, but there was no timeline to when things were happening and what was going on. So it did make it a little bit more difficult. However, I feel that Scott Hahn is more than comfortable with selecting the right individuals to serve. Members of the public, do you have any questions? Dr. Petrie? Okay, seeing none. Moving on with our agenda, we're down to public comments. Matthew Callahan, alumni. Hello, everyone. I'm here to address alumni concerns. We've been wanting to have regular get-togethers, but it seems that we didn't have dates involved, and we don't have dates planned. I graduated in 1994. I've been an alumni since then. And in the years leading up to my graduation, I was always involved with the Kentucky Board of Advisors. And so it was always, you know, what's the alumni doing? What are they into? What are their events that they have going on? Yeah, ASL needs to be taught, ASL needs to be learned, and everybody was very excited about it. We as the alumni have been in talks and a discussion, and so I'm posing a question to the board. Does the KSD Advisory Board, are you all dismissing the alumni? It seems like over the last 2 or 3 years, we haven't heard anything or been invited. Sporting events, we haven't heard of anything going on. You know, we might get a game schedule, but nothing is ever uttered about it. And so it would be nice to know what's going on campus. You know, sometimes we'll ask somebody else, you know, oh, well, it's weather dependent, or, oh, there's not enough students, or things like that. And so, you know, when the kids go home and they, you know, I have other friends that they get a hold of me, I'm at home and they're like, oh, this is going on, you know, other coaches, and I see other teams that are having practice, and other friends that are out doing and being involved in their events, but nothing's made mention here. And historically, we, the alumni, are one of the biggest supporters. That's where you get a lot of money from alumni donations. We want to support the programs that are going on. I have donated a lot of money over the years. I've stopped because I don't know what it goes toward anymore. It feels like it's been a little bit of a rejection, a little bit dismissive. And so when I reach out, all right, does any of the other alumni know what's going on? And it's been a unanimous kind of no. What changed? Mike Yance was a coach, very, very involved, retired, of course. Moving on to another coach, I don't know who that was. It was never announced. I looked for the coaches online. Maybe they're looking for a new coach. I can see that the positions have been posted, but it feels like we as the alumni don't know who the coaches are. KSD is small, but we have a huge sense of pride as the alumni. The alumni weekend used to be hosted here on campus. Alumni, you used to come in and enjoy seeing our old school. But now we've realized maybe we need to get together off campus. And we have concerns about the isolation. We want to be included. We don't want to be rejected. We want to be involved in the school environment. We want to support KSD. We are KSD. We graduated from here. And so that's a question I want to pose to the board. Why are we not feeling heard from you all? We have ideas. We have recommendations, but there's not been any follow-up. We've been dismissed. We bring ideas to you about school and what we can do. We have good ideas, but they've been tabled. And some of the alumni from the last couple of years say, oh, okay, we have new people on the board. We get excited. Oh, we got a couple that are alumni. That's wonderful. We're looking forward to it. And here we are this year, volleyball, with 2 alumni that want to be coaches. We're very excited. We want to come to the games. We want to see what's going on. But we don't hear about it. We're looking for that schedule. And Tina Yance has made the program better. We know that. But that's only one facet of it. We want to help KSD. We want to help the deaf community who's graduated from KSD. But mainly we want to be involved. Why are we not seen? That's been a discussion that we've had. Jeff has said, thank you for your time. I'll talk with Dr. Petrie and see if we can have improvements in that area. One suggestion that I have for the alumni, you're free to contact me anytime. More than happy. I'm more than happy to lend an ear and listen. Many people have been in contact with me directly. Just to let you know, we have been in talks with a lot of others. And maybe it'll be a better suggestion to get together and have a written list. Because we do have a lot that is on our plate. You know, we have a huge laundry list of things to take care of. But we will try and keep, your concerns have been heard, and we'll try and keep you in better communication. Thank you so much. Next, Miss Allison Tucker with school concerns.
So I'm actually gonna look at my phone because that's where I placed all of my notes, if that's okay. Okay. So hello everyone, my name is Allison. This is my sign name and I just graduated this past May from KSD and I wanted to bring up a concern. This is a heartfelt concern I have about the school here. I know that I am not the only one with this concern. I've spoken with some of the other students here. Now that I've graduated and now that I'm no longer a student here, I feel like I can kind of address my concern about this. I want to be able to actually show my voice and represent the students at KSD. I feel like sometimes the discipline during school times with the communication breakdown, I feel like it needs to come directly from the staff, not through an interpreter. And so we're becoming increasingly frustrated because we don't have that direct line of communication from the staff to the students. It's always through an interpreter or a roundabout way, or they don't have an interpreter available, or there's that breakdown of communication, there's miscommunication that's happening. And I know that there are a lot of staff individuals that still do not sign fluently and they are dependent upon an interpreter. And my question is, what if we need help? What if as a student we're stuck and we need someone to assist us in that moment, but they have to wait for an interpreter to get there? And understand, I prefer to have that direct communication, that direct access, so. Really, I've noticed this has become an issue. It started to hurt the students' access to education somewhat. Because we're here to learn and we want to receive that learning directly through ASL. Every time that I walk into a classroom and I realized that I was having a deaf teacher there, I was elated. But whenever I would show up to class and I realized this was a hearing teacher and I was going to be communicating with them through an interpreter, I was a little disappointed because I knew it wasn't going to be the same. And so I want to encourage admin to not be so dependent upon an interpreter at all times, and to try their best to communicate directly with the deaf students one-on-one. And I also want to ask that people would stop having these side conversations and speaking to one another openly on campus in front of the deaf students. We want you guys to sign in front of us because we're walking around our school not knowing what's going on, seeing these conversations take place in the halls, not knowing what's happening. We don't have the same access as you guys. From A to Z, whatever it is, we see conversations happening all around us that we aren't privy to because they're not being held in ASL. And I know that we have a policy here to sign at all times, but I feel like that's not being enforced. We see the signs posted in the halls, we see the signs on the doorways, but I feel like maybe that's not really been enforced upon the staff. They feel like that doesn't apply to them, and that really just, it belittles us, it marginalizes us. And so we were hoping that KSD would start hiring more deaf individuals or fluent signers to our school. And that's my request, that we can start improving in that area as much as possible. And that's all that I'd like to say.
This is Jeff. Thank you so much for voicing your concerns, and I hope the school can improve in that area. Next, Bethany Yance.
Okay, can everybody see me well? Sorry, I'm gonna have to shift my glasses here so I can see clearly my notes. So I have heard of various complaints from staff and alumni here, even from other deaf schools that I've been having good discussions with. And what I've seen here, we've been hiring a lot of staff at KSD, and we're just trying to get all the positions filled as quickly as possible so that we can continue improving our programs here for the students. But I think there are two areas we need to work on. The majority, we need to have more deaf that we are hiring here, and I know that we are not doing that. We only have a couple of people on, whenever we have our interviews, most of them on the interview are hearing.
We're looking for a majority deaf of deaf teachers to be on campus, and a majority is over 51%. I know that there is a deaf that is on the interview panel, but at the same time, that's not enough. ASL is an important language, and we want to make sure that the teachers who are teaching our deaf students have the understanding of ASL and deaf culture. A lot of times when hiring hearing teachers or English first language users, they aren't able to convey in ASL as fluently or as clearly as they can. That's not their first language. It's not what is set up first. And I think in the interview room is really where that needs to take place. If you want to have a deaf perspective, then the majority of the panelists need to be deaf. One case, an example. You know, somebody with minimum ASL skills would be applauded, even though they speak. If they speak more but have minimal ASL skills, well, the English is always going to override whatever they have. It doesn't matter what their qualifications are. If I was never asked, how am I going to improve my English skills? But it's always asked in an interview, how are you going to improve your ASL skills? You know, are you willing to learn sign? Oh, how do you plan to improve your sign language? And you ask a deaf client that? This is my language. Why do I need to improve it? ASL is their first language. It's a cultural identity nationwide. And it's not something to be dismissed. It's not a skill that needs to be improved upon. ASL is a language, not a skill. When hearing apply, they get asked about ASL fluency or ASL improvements. But for a deaf person that gets in comparison, they're never asked about their English fluency or English improvements. They're deaf. They can sign. If deaf people are put in the same position as some of the hearing people, they're shouldering the weight a little bit differently. We need to encourage more deaf applicants and more to be on the panel. It conveys the wrong message to the public at large. That even though this campus cherishes deaf culture and ASL, it also dismisses those who apply with those same skills.
During the interview process, we should have the applicants sign throughout the interview. We want to respect and honor what we have here at KSD's campus. So it should be an expectation that everybody shows up on day one ready to sign and have their voices off at all times. So I have proposed a resolution. We should have everybody on the interview panel, or 51% of everyone on the interview panel, be deaf. And then second of all, we should eliminate that question that asks how they're going to improve their ASL, because that's oppressive to our language. And everyone needs to strive to improve their ASL skills as much as possible. We need to protect this language and protect this culture, because I believe our future truly does depend on it. Thank you.
Mr. Archie Harris. I see is next. Hopefully we can keep it brief, less than 10 minutes. I have Mr. Archie Harris and then Mr. Wilt McMillan with the remainder of the time.
And Archie has some concerns, some issues he'd like to address. Well, hello, I have my list of things I wanted to discuss, and then you keep telling me I've only got 5 minutes, so I've narrowed it down to one. So I have one thing I want to mention, and before I do, I want to apologize to everybody here. I showed up and everybody said, welcome back, and I thought, what? I've already worked here for several years, and you're welcoming me? I feel like I should be the one welcoming all of you, but anyway. I'm not going to mention any names specifically, but that did just hit me. Okay, I better hurry up here. All right, so I've jotted down a long list of things, but I've got to keep it short. I'm probably going to mention just one thing, and this is just my advice. This isn't really a concern. I've just noticed that our school, we don't necessarily have a policy every year related to coaching and various athletic positions that are open whenever we're looking for new individuals to fill those positions. It seems like there's a lot of turnover in this department, and I just feel like that's not the best. That's not really a good idea. When we're looking for a coach or we're looking for someone to work in this department with the children, we don't need to have as much turnover. We need to have the children look towards one person, knowing that they're going to have the same coach for multiple years, someone that they can look up to, someone they can respect. I think that that would be best for them. That way they can know the coach's expectations every single year and that they're not going to change. With hiring a new coach every year, that makes it difficult. So I feel like in order to set up a good team and to have that shining reputation, it would be best to have one coach that stays for a long time. And I'm just not very impressed with all the turnover we've had in this department. I think it would be best to keep that position filled with one person for several years. So again, I don't really have a major concern, just a bit of advice in order to help us improve in this area in our athletic department. And not only that, another reason is it would help us with our reputation here. The other schools surrounding us would be able to see our outstanding program, and it would help us a lot in improving this area. So that's just my 2 cents, my word of advice. Thank you all.
Thank you, Mr. Harris. Finally, Mr. Wilt McMillan. So some of my concerns were the same as Mr. Harris's. It seems like as everybody had gotten up here, I had to pare down my list a little bit. It's sad to say again, we are not in the best place. I feel like staff and admin need to sign more directly with the students. And it's the students who suffer. I'll be 71 this month. I'm not giving up. I will continue to fight for KSD. And we really need to work hard to see where our students really are. We have wonderful reports, capital projects going on, awesome things that are happening, summer programs are doing well. They are super, super wonderful. But we also need to listen to the students. As Allison had mentioned, she had some really good points of concerns when she was a student here and feeling oppressed. That doesn't need to happen here. KSD is Kentucky School for the Deaf. Sign language needs to be paramount. I have a question for you, Dr. Petrie. Are you still in collaboration with CEASD? So I'm wondering, during their report, can we see that? How can we follow up? Is there a follow-up from their report and their recommendations? I would like to see it. One thing I would like to propose is that we have a wonderful bilingual program and say, oh yeah, we do, we're a bilingual school. Really? Okay, what's the definition of bilingual school? Can we see it? That means a student will become masterful in both languages, ASL and English? And you have English being taught through ASL. You won't be able to learn English if not everyone is signing. It's not going to take away, nothing detrimental is going to happen. The school will thrive. We need to make sure that everyone is signing. We have to have ASL immersion program for everyone here on campus who is not a fluent signer. I remember when Dr. Jones earlier was here. Good to see you again, Dr. Jones, and welcome back. She is one of the fine examples of people who have come here and have come back. And I am ecstatic that you are back because you are one of the fine examples of faculty that is here at KSD. I guess I will stop there. Thank you all. Jeff is saying thank you. And talks to CEASD. We will have a follow-up with CEASD. We can ask Greta a little bit more about that. And those communications will never stop. It's one thing. Thank you for your information that we have. And we'll listen to your request. We appreciate it. Our public comments are done. It seems like a lot of issues are regarding signing on campus and using sign language. And we as the board value that, and hopefully the school can make improvements in those areas. According to the bylaws, annually we have officer elections on the fiscal year. And so for us, it's happening this August. We're looking for the chair and the vice chair specifically is what we're talking about. They can serve for 2 terms and no more than. So we have a chair and a vice chair before you. We need to decide if we're going to stay for a second term or not. Mr. Hahn is making a motion that we nominate Jeff Kessinger and Bethany Yantz to continue as chair and vice chair, plus Robin as our board secretary. She has done a fantastic job. The 3 of you all have done a wonderful job, but that is my motion that the 3 of you all continue in your positions that you currently hold. Aaron Roden nominates Bethany Yantz to become the chair. I would like to see a little bit of change, but Bethany Yantz is saying that maybe next year, since this will be our second term, that can happen. Scott Hahn has made a motion. The motion's been made. All in favor of Scott's motion, can you signify by raising your hand? The motion passes. To let you all know, for our next meeting, we have it in the books on November 13th. I would ask if we could change that. I plan to be out of town for about half of the month. I have a large project that I'm working on that will have me be out of town. If we can move the meeting from November 13th back to October 30th, be my request. Robin, is that okay with you? October 30th? Yeah, bump it from November 13th to October 30th. Scott Hahn had the wrong calendar out. We're all checking, and it should be fine. Erin, she said that's fine. We will set our next meeting for October 30th. We'll adjourn our meeting at 7:46 p.m. Thank you all so much.